The Tory Party's newly appointed deputy chair, Lee Anderson, he's always in the headlines these days, isn't he? But this time it's because he's focusing on how to win the next general election. He says that basically the Tories are going to need to think of something else as all the great ingredients the party's won its campaign on in 2019 are gone. So he reckons the focus needs to be on things like culture wars and stuff like the trans conversation, etc., if the Tories want to win the next election. Is he right, Charlotte?
I don't think he is, no. I think most people are waking up in the morning thinking about, can they pay the bills? Is their job secure? Can their granny get a hip replacement she needs? You know, are their kids going to have a better future than them? So, no, I think that for the Conservatives to win the next general election, they need a stable economy, they need to be, you know, having an economy that creates good jobs, they need to sort out the collapsing public services we have in this country, they need to show competence that they can govern in the interests of the people. That said, no doubt there are aspects of it that would play very well. You know, for example, clearly the party is going to have to try and get to grips with the small boats and that particular challenge within the illegal immigration kind of debate. And I do think some of the trans stuff, not the kind of, you know, the sort of, on both sides, the sort of super kind of amped up arguments, but the basic things like can women have all-female spaces, that sort of stuff I think will resonate and that will be important. But the idea of, you know, a culture war, I mean, it's kind of in the name. It's just so profoundly unhelpful in a country that's already so divided.
Yeah, it is unhelpful, but at the same time, when you do have a Labour Party leader who comes out with lines like, you know, women could have a penis, or what is a woman? Well, that's... I mean, that's a little bit ridiculous, isn't it? And a lot of people will sit there and say, you know what, there's no real major difference anymore between a lot of these big parties. So, actually, why not bring it down to this kind of conversation? You don't even know what a woman is, you're not getting my vote.
Well, I think the problem with Keir Starmer is he says that and then he can't explain his thinking. I think if he could explain his thinking, and I think there's a very clear sort of way you can explain it personally. I think a trans woman is a woman. I don't think he's on top of those arguments. I think he's being told to say something, or I think he has to say something within the party. I don't think he knows the thinking behind it. I think if he did, then people could say, well, I agree on that or I disagree on that, but it's not that deep with Keir Starmer. In terms of this piece, really interesting, he says that the things that won it for the Tories, and they did win big in 2019, was Brexit, Boris and Corbyn. I would add one more, which was levelling up. And I think most people outside of London, outside the big cities, for the first time in a long time, felt heard. They had a voice. And they felt that there was a national mission of renewal in the UK. That's gone. The Conservatives have lost that. That's why their polling is so terrible. But I think if you just talk about culture war, then you're not talking about that stuff. People want their high street to look $1 million, right? It looks nothing like it did 30 years ago. And, of course, like you say, public services and wages. That needs to be addressed. This, to me, is almost a mission of failure.